I'm Kristina Batiste. I am a potter, and I work out of a studio here in Tacoma, Washington. I became an artist later in life. I didn't start this work until I was 40 years old. That has had a really interesting and surprising and profound effect on how I make work. When I was younger, I feel like, I didn't have anything to say. I hadn't seen enough of the world yet. I hadn't really been in the world and experienced a lot of different things. So I didn't have as much to say. And now, as an older artist, I do. I have more things. I've seen more things, and I can comment on what I experience in the world in a way that just has a little more maturity to it. One thing that I would say through my art now that I probably wouldn't have been able to say in my 20s is that I'm a lot more forgiving of the art, and also I have a stronger point of view. I do know what I like. I know what kind of visuals I want to create, or I know when I'm satisfied with something. But I also think that when you're younger, you have a much higher level of perfectionism, or you don't want to do it if it's not going to be perfect, or it's not going to be exactly what you want. And I think as you get older, you realize it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to get it exactly what you want. And so trying it, doing it, and working toward what you want, that's the work. My whole life has really shaped who I am as an artist. Just by nature, I am an editor. I like to take things away to make something more clear. I've had different jobs where I've done that. I've been an editor, or a graphic designer, or a content strategist, just making it easier for someone to pick up. One of the things that draws me to minimalism as an approach is that it creates space for quiet. Our world is really loud, and it's really fast, and there's always a lot going on, and there's always so many demands on your attention and on your time. And I want my work to create a pause in all of that, a way to stop and maybe look at one thing and not have distraction and not have so much around it, that you can really just focus on this one little thing. Clay has a memory, and that's something that potters know and speak of, mostly in terms of the physical qualities of it. So if you touch your piece or do something to that clay, or bend it and then straighten it out and fire it, by the time it gets through those firings, that little bend or whatever you did will be there. It will remember what you did and hold on to that. I feel that clay actually holds a lot more than just those physical touches or those physical things. It can hold your ideas and intentions and emotions and really communicate that back in future interactions with it. And that's not a new idea. People have really put things into clay for forever, since they've been making things out of clay. So it's not anything new, but it's an idea that really resonates with me, and I really like the fact that we can put these emotions, put these thoughts, put anything that's too big for you to hold in your mind. You can put that into this piece, and the piece will hold on to it for you. That clay is older, it's been there before you got here, and it'll be here long after you are gone, and it will hold on to all that stuff for you. So you can let the clay hold these things that are too much. It might be too much for you, and I really love that. There is a piece or a series of pieces that I made a few years ago during the summer of 2020, during the racial awareness and a racial waking up that we had as a country. I remember being really inspired by and compelled by all of the protests that were happening nationally, and people going out of their houses and being visible and having protest signs and really just being in that moment. So I created these protest signs that look like cups and protest signs that look like pendants, something that you can wear or something that you can drink out of. but still has the energy and the meaning behind what we were out in the streets marching about, what we were chanting about, and what we were putting on protest signs. So I wanted to put that into that work, into that wear, so that people could continue that revolution and continue that protest when they're having coffee with a friend at their home, and continue that and start those conversations in maybe a quieter place or in a place where people might have a more intimate conversation about that. They're using a couple of things that I really love in my work in general, and I think they work particularly well in this series. So I'm using this black firing clay, this very, very dark black clay that I am using to evoke a street, the asphalt on a street. The lines, the Black Lives Matter lines, are these 3 yellow parallel lines that are abstraction of the Black Lives Matter logo. And that logo was created by the Oakland Design Collective. It's brilliant work because they designed that specifically to be recognizable and creatable with whatever you have at hand. So if you have chalk and a street, you can make that logo. If you have a piece of cardboard and a Sharpie, you can make that logo. And they did that with the simplicity of it and the color of it. And I love those 2 things. And so I'm using that black clay and those yellow, that really bright, pay attention to this yellow color, and putting that on those cups and on those pendants. If I were creating a piece specifically for Tacoma, I might want it to be a functional piece that could be used more universally. I don't know that I would want the piece I create for Tacoma to be sculptural and more decorative and something that you interact with by looking at it. I think I'd want to make something that you interact with by using it. And I would want it to be available and accessible to a lot of different people. So it might involve me making a series of work that could be borrowed and shared and used throughout the community for different events. So if a group had, maybe there would be a series of great big bowls that could be used on a buffet table or holding food or something, and whoever needs to use that for a party or a dinner or a ceremony or whatever they're having, they could use that. They could use that bowl, and it could be used in different venues by different people who are all in Tacoma, so that it starts to see that connection and see how we can use these same things and do things that are very similar, and using this piece of art that could travel around. So I might do something like that. I think that would be a fun thing to do. The most valuable thing in the world is someone's attention and focus on something. There was a potter who was putting her or his attention into that vessel. They were 100% focused on making that pot, whether it was centering and throwing or trimming or glazing. That attention is part of what is retained. There's also that emotional capacity of that they want to put something that they see as beautiful into the world that then you get to use. I think there's a lot of elements that are creating that harmonious experience of using handmade ware. I don't think it's any one thing, but it's magic. Yeah.